Vauxhall's second generation Mokka small SUV needed a really significant update and gets it with this far-reaching mid-term refresh. Sharper looks are matched by a reworked cabin, and powertrain choice is split between conventional, hybrid and EV. It might all be enough to make this Griffin brand model worth a second look.
Ideally, Vauxhall wants customers to choose some sort of electrified Mokka. Indeed, with this car's similarly sized Frontera crossover showroom stablemate, it's a hybrid, an EV or nothing. The Griffin brand hasn't yet been quite that prescriptive with this Mokka, but the car's conventional engine range has been slimmed down to just a single version of the usual 1.2 litre 3-cylinder petrol unit, which offers 136 PS in 6-speed manual guise or 130 PS with an 8-speed auto. Regardless of transmission choice, 0 to 62 miles an hour takes 8.9 seconds. If it's an auto you want and you've a little extra in your budget, it's worth negotiating yourself up to the hybrid powertrain, which arrived in the range just a year before this facelift. It's actually a 48-volt mild hybrid unit, but quite a clever one, which its engineers claim is able to drive the car for up to 50% of the time in city traffic. With this Mokka, it produces more power than it does in most of the other Stellantis models in which it's used, 145 PS, though the torque figure remains at the 230 Nm figure usual for this unit. The engine's coupled to an eDCT6 electrified 6-speed dual-clutch auto transmission, which integrates a 28 horsepower permanent magnet synchronous electric motor, adding 55 Nm of extra torque to the drivetrain. That extra pulling power springs you off the line a little quicker. 0 to 62 miles an hour takes 8.4 seconds. And you might also notice the benefit with mid-range overtakes. And to facilitate that, the e-motor will act as a generator to recharge the hybrid system's 48-volt battery every time you brake or come off the throttle. What about the full electric variant, the Mokka electric model we're trying here? Well, this car doesn't feel quite as urgent away from rest as its Corsa electric showroom stablemate, but it's not slow, with 62 miles an hour from rest taking 9 seconds. As before, this model shares nearly all the same mechanicals you'll find in that EV Super Mini, though the usual single-speed auto transmission is now solely mated to the CMP platform's largest available 54 kilowatt-hour long-range battery. This offers a range of 250 miles, a big jump from the 209-mile figure of the Mokka E we tried back in 2021. It's linked to a more powerful 156 PS motor than before, 20 PS more, though doesn't actually feel any faster because the 260 Nm torque figure is just the same. 0 to 62 miles an hour is rated at 9 seconds, but in place of the near 130 mile an hour top speed of a petrol-powered Mokka, the flat-out figure here is just 93 miles an hour. Still, when was the last time you drove at 93 miles an hour? Perhaps you better not answer that. This is a cleaner, more appealing take on the second generation Mokka, but you might need a long stare and a quick reference to the old car to realise just why. Here at the side, the update changes are minor. A black design strip now runs from the A-pillars above the side windows, with another running across the lower door surfaces to the rear. The main visual changes made as part of this update are at the front here, where a new cut line below the blacked-out visor grille has been added. The LED headlamps also gain a more distinctive 3 lighting block signature, plus chrome has been dispensed with, and there's a redesigned front bumper. So not all that much has changed outside. Has more of the update budget been spent in the cabin? Well, let's step in and find out. Well, yes, there are a few bigger changes in the interior, where the so-called multimedia pure panel system on the dashboard now houses 2 10-inch screens. Previously, the most affordable Mokka models were limited to screens of only 7 inches in size. As before, it's a cabin you're not going to like much if you object to shiny, smudge-worthy piano black plastic, and it's also one that would benefit from a splash or two of colour, though the contrasting grey on these sports seats looks quite smart, and there's some nice carbon fibre style trimming ahead of the passenger. The steering wheel's new as well. Overall, though, it's quite a nice place to sit, and we applaud Vauxhall's continuing decision to fly in the face of perceived Stellantis design policy and separate out climate controls from the touchscreen into a lower bank of physical buttons. Having just tested a rival Ford Puma where that isn't the case, the day-to-day usability difference that made was very noticeable. You sit a little higher than that aforementioned Puma, but lower than in something like a Jeep Avenger, which is a good compromise in this segment. And to suit the current zeitgeist, you're surrounded by sturdy fabrics and recycled plastics. OK, so let's have a look in the rear. As before, the short rear doors and small aperture you enter through suggest that it's not going to be particularly spacious back here. Which is pretty much the way it turns out, and unlike in some key rivals, there's no useful sliding bench mechanism to improve things. Legroom for adults would be okay on a short to medium length journey, but you wouldn't really want to be back here for much longer than that. It'll probably be fine for children though, unless they object to the upwardly sloping window line, which particularly on models with tinted rear windows might leave some kids feeling a bit claustrophobic. Right, to the loading area now. With everything open, there's a usefully large aperture, but quite a high lip, and a 350 litre capacity figure that's a hefty 110 litres less than you'd get in the brand's cheaper Frontera SUV model. The rear bench has an inflexible 60-40 split. When the rear seat is folded, up to 1,105 litres of room is released in a combustion Mokka model, or up to 1,060 litres in this Mokka Electric. The efficiency stats for the base 1.2 litre, 136 PS manual model are up to 50.4 mpg on the combined cycle and 128 grams per kilometre of CO2. For the 1.2, 130 PS auto, you're looking at 46.3 mpg and 138 grams per kilometre. The Mokka Hybrid manages up to 58.9 mpg on the combined cycle and up to 109 grams per kilometre of CO2, a useful improvement over the conventional engine, very close to the stats of the class-leading Toyota Yaris Cross Hybrid. The Mokka electric model's powertrain can support most domestic charging standards as well as most commercially offered DC rapid charging systems. It has support for up to 3-phase 11 kilowatt charging in AC mode for home use, and a modest 100 kilowatt DC capability is standard, allowing the car to be replenished at a DC public charging point to 80% capacity in 30 minutes. Full AC charging from a 7.4 kilowatt home wall box needs 7 hours and 30 minutes, which you can reduce to 5 hours if you're able to use a 3-phase supply and charge at 11 kilowatt. And in summary, well, no, this improved Mokka doesn't really bring anything very new to the segment, but customers of small crossovers aren't really looking for engineering ingenuity. Usually they want to make a pavement statement. And if you think that's what this car now does, then you might find yourself liking it very much indeed. Superficial? Well, maybe, but this is one of the more eye-catching Vauxhalls we can remember. And that has to be a good thing.